Welcome everyone to 3 simple mechanics you can use to rank up fast in Rocket League. In today's video we will be covering mechanics such as wave dashes, half flips, and fast aerials. So sit back, relax, and get prepared to take a dive into the wild world of Rocket League's crazy mechanics. Let's begin. The first mechanic we'll be covering in today's video are wave dashes. Now, wave dashes are a very simple mechanic that can be learned in approximately 30 minutes or less with no previous experience required, which means that both beginners and seasoned players can learn these at a fast pace. Wave dashes are specifically useful for recoveries and to gain and maintain speed, especially if you do not have any boost. Performing wave dashes, step number 1. When performing wave dashes, the very first step you're going to want to do is to press your jump button and then pull downward on your analog stick. The result that you should be looking for should be something along the lines of what you're seeing on the screen right now. Your car should be in an upwards direction with the very front of the car pointing up in the air. But you do not want to have your car pointing directly upwards, as this can cause your car to do a total cartwheel. Performing wave dashes, step number 2. The second and final step to wave dashing, I know that was fast, is to dodge into the ground. You do this by pressing jump and pushing your analog stick forward. This should result in something similar to what you're seeing on screen. It is important to note that wave dashing can be performed not only on front flips, but all types of flips, including side flips, as you can see on the screen right now, diagonal flips, and even backwards flips. I want to take this time to remind you that if you're getting stuck on something here and you're making mistakes, don't worry. Many of us still make mistakes, even pros still make mistakes. Now, one of the most common mistakes that I see with wave dashing, and I've personally fallen victim to it, is when you use your wave dash, but you don't fully let your rear wheels touch the ground. This results in essentially a really weird looking front flip, as you can see here with the enlarged video. Upon further slowing of the video, you can clearly see that the jump is initiated before the rear wheel touches the ground. This causes your car to do pretty much a catapulting cartwheel forward. To fix this, simply time your jump at about roughly the same time that both of your wheels hit the ground, as you can see here on your screen. An easy way to remember how to wave dash is to remember this tip. Whether you want to wave dash to the left or to the right, you want to always make sure that the roof of your car is pointing in the opposite direction of the way that you want to dash. The same rule also applies for wave dashing forwards and backwards as well as diagonally. To summarize, wave dashes are a very useful and simple mechanic that can give you that competitive edge against your opponents, especially in 1v1s, as your boost management and recoveries will be heavily tested. The next mechanic that we'll be going over are half flips. Half flips are an extremely useful mechanic. However, it may take anywhere from 30 minutes to several hours for you to master them, depending on how much you practice and how quickly you learn. The main use for a half flip is to turn your car around when you're facing the opposite direction, as you can see on the screen now. Due to their effectiveness, half flips have been adopted by both pros and players alike all around the globe. Performing half flips, step number 1. The first step in half flipping is to do what is called a backflip cancel. This involves double pressing your jump button while holding downwards on your analog stick. Then, immediately after, you must push forwards on your analog stick to cancel the backflip. The result should look something identical to what you are seeing on screen. An important rule: in order to perform step 2 properly, directional arrow left or right must be bound to your controls. Performing half flips, step number 2. In order to properly perform a half flip, directional air roll should be applied after cancellation of your backflip. The result should look similar or identical to what you are seeing on the screen. It is important to note that timing is key. It may take you multiple hours to get the timing correct, but once you do, half flipping will be second nature to you. In fact, most of the mistakes that you will make will involve the timing of either your flip, cancellation, or how quickly or how slowly you apply air roll during your half flip. Common half flipping mistakes and how to fix them. Many players have their half flips looking like this. Why? Well, the answer is actually quite simple. During a backflip cancellation, you must, and I repeat, you must hold upwards on your analog stick for the entirety of the backflip cancellation. If you don't, well, this happens. A good practice for avoiding this mistake is to leave a slight delay in between your backflip cancellation and when you apply your air roll. This allows for your car to be able to completely finish the backflip before your car begins to roll. Another common mistake that many players make is not canceling the backflip quickly enough. And at that point, you're pretty much just doing a really dumb looking backflip. In order to cancel a backflip quickly enough, make sure that immediately after completing your backflip, you are pushing upwards on your analog stick. Do not delay. If you've completed every previous step properly, your completed half flip should look identical to what you're seeing on the screen right now. The third and final mechanic that you will be learning in today's video are fast aerials. Fast aerials are not only the easiest mechanic in this video, but also one of the most effective and useful tools when playing in Rocket League. What is a fast aerial? Well, a fast aerial is pretty similar to a normal aerial, except for being faster. This extra speed is all in the technique of how you use your jumps when aerialing. This thought leads me to my next demonstration. Many players who are either less experienced or in a lower rank aerial just like this. But this technique is just straight wrong. In order to train you on how to properly fast aerial, I have to show you how not to fast aerial first. Let's have another look at that incorrect technique. I want you to pay close attention to the use of the jumps. What's wrong? The issue here is that there's quite a large loss of momentum. See, double pressing your jump buttons and then boosting costs you not only time, but also speed. Therefore, you're probably going to get beaten to the ball a lot. Now take a look at a fast aerial. Note the use of the jumps and when boosting is applied. To help illustrate my point, I've made a little side-by-side comparison. Which one do you think is the fast aerial? If you guess the one on the right side, you are correct. Remember, timing is key to everything in Rocket League. Don't worry if this takes you a couple of hours to master the technique. It took me quite a few attempts, but now I can safely say that fast aerialing has not only made me a better player, but has also helped me achieve my dream of Grand Champion. Performing fast aerials. Since fast aerialing focuses mainly on how you use both of your jumps, there really aren't many steps. So this mechanic is going to have one larger step that's made up of several smaller steps. The first thing you're going to want to do is single jump while boosting. Second, instead of double jumping, you're going to want to pull backwards on your analog stick, identical to when wave dashing. Finally, you're going to want to press your jump button and continue boosting. Your completed fast aerial should look similar or identical to what you're seeing on the screen. Now, one tip that I'd like to give you for aerialing in general involves having some kind of momentum before you even go up for an aerial. Why is this important? Well, the more speed you have, the less boost you need to use, which helps with boost management. And that's not all. With having momentum on your side, you already have speed. Speed will assist you in getting up to the ball quicker than players going from a standstill. For example, take two players. 1 fast aerials from a standstill, and 1 fast aerials while having momentum. Which do you think will get up to the ball quicker? You may be thinking to yourself, well, that's an easy question to answer. Of course it's going to be the person with more momentum, but that's not always the case. Let's take a look at another example. Just like in the last example, we're going to have 2 different players competing for the same ball. One, however, will be much closer to the ball, while the other is much farther away. If both players are using fast aerials, who do you think will reach the ball faster? Now don't answer right away. I want you to think about this one, as this one is actually tricky. The answer is, well, really, there is no straight answer to this question. It really depends on the player. You see, both players actually have an equal chance of reaching the ball at the same time, because one player is closer and has to gain momentum from a standstill, while the other player is farther away, but at supersonic speed, meaning they really don't have to gain any of that speed to begin with. But this, however, is not the only point that I'm trying to make. The main point that I'm trying to make is that everybody is human and everybody makes mistakes. That means even if your technique is better, you may mess up on a specific shot attempt or on a specific aerial and you'll get beaten to the ball even though you were trying to fast aerial. How do you guarantee to always beat someone up to the ball? Well, make sure that before you go up for an aerial, your car is pointing straight towards the ball. You want to have a straight trajectory. If you do not, you're going to have to tilt your car in the air and turn in the air, costing you speed. For example, let's take 2 lines, one in the shape of a wave and the other in the form of a straight line. Simple mathematics tells us that a straight line is the shortest distance between any 2 points, meaning the fastest way to get from point A to point B is indeed a straight line. The same applies in Rocket League. The fastest way to get to the ball would be in a straight line towards the ball. If you're not pointing directly towards the ball, you're going to have to turn in the air, resulting in essentially a curved line or a slower trajectory. If you can eliminate all curvature from your aerials while also mastering the fast aerial technique, you will not only be able to beat other players up in the air, but you will also be able to conserve as much boost as possible for when you really need it. Congratulations! You have mastered 3 simple mechanics that will transform your Rocket League gameplay. Make sure to practice these mechanics daily. Doing so will ensure that you learn faster and more effectively. Feel free to leave a like or a comment if you enjoyed this video. You can also comment below any suggestions for video ideas that you have. Thank you so much for watching, and good luck on your Rocket League journey.